Do you want to become enormously wealthy in just 6 steps? Then this video is for you, because I'm going to outline all the knowledge you will need to build your own pyramid scheme. The first step is to find a system of polynomial equations whose solutions form the shape of a pyramid. These equations I have here are just one way to construct a tetrahedron, the simplest pyramid, taking a slice of a 4-dimensional hyperplane requiring at least one coordinate to be 0 at each point. Despite this living in 4-dimensional space, this is a 3-dimensional object. Step 2. Understand what a commutative ring is. But simply, it is any structure that supports addition, subtraction, and multiplication following the rules you know and love from grade school, where these operations over 2 members of the ring produce another member of the ring. To simplify a ring, we need to introduce ideals, which are subrings which absorb all elements of the parent ring by multiplication. For example, if you have any integer and multiply it by an even number, you will get an even product. Polynomials are another great example of rings, and they also have their ideals, seen here. Step 3. You will then need to factor the ideal out of the ring, and all that is left is going to be a ring of remainders, which intelligently is called a quotient ring. In the example of the integers, factoring out the even integers leaves only 2 possible remainders, representing the idea of an even and odd number, and their addition and multiplication capture the parity rules often taught in grade school, like how an even plus an odd is odd. In the case of polynomials, factoring out a polynomial reduces the degree of polynomials, so factoring out a quadratic polynomial will leave behind a linear remainder at best. Step 4. Use your pyramid equations to make an ideal, and factor it out from the appropriate polynomial ring, seen here. Obviously, this step will depend heavily upon the pyramid design you originally came up with in Step 1, so there is no reason to dwell on this in detail. Step 5. Compute the spectrum of your new quotient ring. The spectrum is the set of all prime ideals. Prime ideals, simply put, are those ideals that require multiplication to be an element of the ideal for entry. So you can't just end up in the ideal by multiplying 2 non-ideal members together. The even numbers are a great example of this. You can't multiply 2 odd numbers to get an even number. Step 6. Find a scheme isomorphic to the spectrum. A scheme is an example of a locally ringed space, which basically means you have a whole bunch of rings glued together to form a very fancy space. Since the spectrum is used to describe a ring of polynomials that do not vanish on the pyramid, the corresponding scheme is therefore called a pyramid scheme. We have now completed our pyramid scheme in just 6 easy steps. 6 easy steps. Even the articles and books written about succeeding in a multi-level marketing firm requires 7 steps to succeed. So you are getting a 14% reduction in the workload you need to succeed in your pyramid scheme. Now, I'm sure that the SEC and their enhanced interrogation teams are closing in on my position as I speak, but before I go, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share your success stories in starting your own pyramid scheme. Thank you for watching.